Hello, this is Dennis Sylvester with Quadrant Software. Today I'm going to show you how unbelievably easy it is to send and receive a fax through our FastFax for Domino solution. Okay, what I'm going to go ahead and do and show you first is how you would use the FastFax for Domino solution to take a document that a user may have created on their PC and send it via fax, outbound fax. Okay, so what a user would do is go into their normal Notes client and they would go ahead and create a new mail message just like they would if they were going to email something to someone. And let's say that the document that they want to fax to someone is a PDF. So what I would do is go ahead and click the attachment button, go ahead and attach that to the email. Okay, so let's say this happens to be the PDF that I want to fax to someone. Just go ahead and double click that and it attaches it to the email message. And as a user, to fax this to someone, all I really need to do is address this email to a fax address. And I have a couple of different options on how I can do that, but probably the easiest way for the users to do that is use this button up here. You see this FastFax address button up in the top left-hand corner. When I click that, it pops up a nice little template for the user. So I can go ahead and type in, if I'm going to send this to George Washington at ABC Company, and his fax number is 508-339-8380. I just go ahead and address that and say OK. And you'll notice what's happened is that it's gone ahead and filled in the to field for me and addressing this email to a fax address where I've got the name of the person, the company name, the fax number, and it's at FastFax. And basically what happens is when the user submits this email message, the FastFax for Domino solution will get this email message because of the fact that it's addressed to a fax address. Okay. That's really the mechanism that is what facilitates the actual sending of the document via fax through the FastFax for Domino system. Okay, and so that's all I simply need to do is if all I want to do is take that document and fax it to someone, I just address it, click send like I normally would on this email, and it's going to submit it to the FastFax system to be faxed automatically for me, never having to print it out and manually fax it or anything like that. But there's a couple other things I can do with this before I submit it if I want to. So if I want to put a subject in here like, FastFax example, that will appear. FastFax has the ability to, when it transmits a fax, it can automatically put a cover sheet on the fax. So if let's say this was a 2-page PDF document, we'll take those 2 pages, turn that into a fax, but we can also put a cover sheet in front of that that will obviously have the who it's going to information as well as who it's coming from as a user. And custom cover sheets can be customized for each user if you want to, or each department or each location in the FastFax system. So it's not one generic cover sheet. It's very flexible. You can have different cover sheets for different users. So subject line would appear in the cover sheet, as well as I can come down here in the body of the email and type a note on the cover that will appear on the cover sheet. So George, this is the document we discussed. Please call after you have reviewed. Thanks, Dennis. So that note now will appear on the cover sheet when I submit this as well. Okay, but really don't have to do that. If all I want to do is take that document and fax it to someone, I can just attach it, address it to a fax address, click send, and that's going to be submitted, and FastFax for Domino will grab that and turn it into a fax and send it off. Okay, so as a user, that's really as far as I need to go to fax it. Now, what I will tell you is within FastFax, there is messaging that the system can send back to the user, letting them know whether their fax was successfully transmitted or not. So, as an example, in my inbox here, I have an example of an email that FastFax sent back to me, letting me know that my fax was successfully sent. Okay, and so in this example, you can see the specific date and time that it was sent. Again, the status here is sent. I can see other bits of information like who it was going to, what their fax number was, how many pages were in the fax, some details about the fax. But probably the most important thing is the fact that, it gives a message back as to the success or failure. And quite frankly, most of my customers are much more concerned about faxes that fail versus ones that are successfully sent. And so obviously, you would want to pay much more attention to the ones that have a status of error or unsuccessfully sent and address those as need be. We even give notification back as to why the fax failed if it did. So maybe it hit 5 busy signals each time it tried and couldn't get through successfully. So that type of information is very important to know why it failed, to know whether it's a bad fax number or it's just a very busy fax machine, for example. So we provide all that information back, notification to the user. Okay, so completes the circle. I showed you how you send a fax, as well as I showed you how the user could get notified using the system whether their fax was successfully sent or not on the outbound fax side of things. Okay. Now the FastFax Domino solution can also be used for automating the inbound fax process. So in here I have an example, this third email in my inbox right here. This is an example of where FastFax has received a fax electronically, converted that fax into a PDF file, and then routed it directly into my email inbox. Okay, so in this case you can see again date and time that it was received, how many pages, how long it took to receive it. But as a user, I can just double click on the PDF file, click view, open it up, and it opens up that PDF for me right on my screen. So from here I can do whatever I want with this received fax. I can print it, I can forward it on to another user within my company via email. I can do a lot of things with it, but the important part is obviously, we're automating the process here. We're not receiving paper and paper fax machines and having manual routing processes happen. This is all automated. And there are a variety of different ways that you can indeed route inbound faxes. You can totally automate the process where faxes come in and get routed directly to the right user within your company, as well as all the way down to sort of the most basic way of doing it, which is having them come in to a central queue where someone looks at them and forwards them on. But the system can be fully automated if you so choose. So kind of completes the circle. What I've shown you here is the ability for FastFax for Domino to be used for sending faxes from the desktop. Showed you what a inbound fax looks like and how it gets routed and how you can view it, and completes the functionality of using the FastFax Domino for solution for both inbound and outbound fax routing. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of how it works. If you'd like to learn more, certainly please don't hesitate to contact us, and we'd be happy to discuss any questions or the functionality that you saw here today. So thank you very much and have a great day.